Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Stranded Survivors. My name is Matt, and I'm one of your co hosts.
And I am Steven, also known as Joe Daddy, and we have a guest star with us today. Introduce yourself, King Dodo.
Hey guys, how you doing? I'm King Dodo, and I guess I'm here to talk about mental health and gaming.
Ooh,
Yeah, a very important
I
topic
should
and an important guy.
I should probably let you know that I've got a graduate degree in psychology, and I at the moment work I work with a in a group home with individuals who have had trouble with the law and have developmental disabilities. So I work directly with that population.
And that, in and of
mm.
itself,
And
comes with its own unique set of challenges, I can only imagine.
Yeah, I
And
got a
also
couple stories
rewards.
for you one day. Oh yeah, you can't get any better than when you finally explain something to a guy and he gets it, and then he's all happy about it because he's gotten a concept that he's been working on for like a year, maybe longer sometimes.
that's amazing. Are you allowed to share a story, but not going into detail too much? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I can't really go into details about the
Yeah.
guys. Definitely can't give names or anything like that.
Oh, no, no.
But I can definitely give a story or two.
Oh, I love
Um,
that.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, was it
100%.
rewarding?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one guy who he was having a hard time dealing with working towards remembering to brush his teeth, remembering to take a shower, remembering all of that stuff. And we spent must have been about a year or so with this program and protocol in which we he would do these things with our reminders, and then we would slowly stop giving him reminders. And then when one day he did everything that he was supposed to do with no reminders at all, and I went up to him and I said, "Hey, you realize you did this entire day with no reminders. You brushed your teeth, you took a shower, you washed your hands before meals, and you brushed your teeth after meals." And he said, "I did all that?" I said, "Yeah, I've got it all right here, a piece of paper." And it was just great. He was so excited and so happy and so pleased with himself for doing something that you and I probably take for granted every day.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
that
Just like
is.
the probably the self-worth he got from it and the dopamine rush that he got from it of like feeling
Oh yeah.
confident with himself. That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
I- is he still doing really well with it? Did it become like a habit for him now?
Oh yeah. It's become second nature to him now. He gets up in the morning. First thing he does is he grabs his stuff, goes to the shower, comes back, gets his meds, and
That's
moves on with
amazing.
his day from there. After breakfast, he goes and brushes his teeth. It's it's almost an average day for him now. So it's of course we got other things to work with him on, but
Yeah.
Of
that
course,
one's
everyone
a,
does.
that one's a success story.
That's so cool though, because that's one of those things that not only is that, something that everybody day to day, it's very, very important, but that can add years to your life. Like you possibly extended this person's life by the difference that you made there with those reminders and that effort. So that's pretty cool to be able to lay your head down at night knowing that you possibly made that huge of an impact long term, you know?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And it's not so much for these guys, for individuals who have developmental disabilities, especially when they get to a certain, I guess, intelligence. I guess would be the best way to put it. You really kind of understand that. Okay, I know there's something wrong with me, and I know that I can't do these things, but I don't know what to do to stop it. So they're intelligent enough to understand that there is a disability there, but they're not quite at the point where they can overcome that disability and work towards what their dreams are.
I was just gonna say that's got to be such an like alienating feeling to, be able to identify, hey, I am different, but not be able to figure out exactly how to navigate that. That's got to be so confusing for everyone there.
Oh yeah, we've got one guy who enjoys being a DJ. He's got his
That's
computer set
dope.
up with all. He's got over 15,000 songs on his computer. It's awesome. We have great times with him. He plays music, and we got guys that dance around. It's a lot of fun. Um, However, he doesn't really understand the whole. He knows he wants to be a DJ. He knows he enjoys DJing. However, he doesn't understand how to maneuver in the world where you have to work with customers. If you're going to DJ at a wedding or something, you have to work with customers and you have to do what they want and you have to try and try and maneuver that social interaction with people. And that's just something he fails at is social interaction.
Which that's hard enough to begin with, just on a human level, human to human interacting with each other and finding the quote unquote correct way to interact peer to peer. That's so hard to begin with. So throwing
Oh
in
yeah.
any developmental things in there, that makes it exponentially more difficult. I can only imagine. So hats off to him for the efforts he's going through.
Oh yeah, it doesn't stop him from trying. So
Is there anything you're working on him with to like overcome that, or is it just something he probably won't overcome, and that's just kind of how it is?
um we've got him we've got him talking more about um like social interaction, as in we've got him talking more about what his dreams and desires are. Um, Up until about, I guess, a year ago, he wouldn't. He was painfully shy, like, and painfully, like, he would come out of his room once or twice a day. And when he came out, he was always had his head down and his shoulders slumped over, and he was always trying to make himself smaller. And we've gotten to the point now where he can come and sit down and he'll play his music and he'll enjoy as the other guys are dancing around and he'll chat with us about little things like, hey, I'm almost at 15,000 songs now, and that's a big deal for him. So we give him his props and we give him his moment, and he thrives with it now. But now we're trying to work into the social interaction as to how to meet people, how to talk to other people, and that brings us right into a very good um, a segue into tabletop role playing, which is what we're getting into with him now. It's called Tabletop Role Playing Therapy. There's actual books on it.
That's Matt's favorite. That's Matt's 100% favorite.
Oh yeah.
That's actually the focus of my master's like studies right now. So I'm intrigued to hear what you know about like, in the field how it can be actually done, and I would love to hear more about that. So could you share a little bit more about how you've utilized that as part of their coping strategies and to help your clients out?
Yeah, it's really quite simple because I mean, as you know, tabletop role playing is it's all about interaction with other people, right? You're sharing a story, so you have to play within the rules of the game itself, but you also have to play within the rules of a social interaction and a social contract with three, four, five other people. Um, and that is how we can get to bringing this gentleman. We'll call him Bob. Um, and that's how we can bring Bob out of his shell because now we give him this character, and this character is what is Bob's character? Is a fighter, just your basic generic. I think he's level 5 now,
Yeah.
fighter, and now he has. We're giving him these social interactions where a good example would be, um, they found a guy on a road. He was dying. He had this bag of gold, and he gave it to Bob and said, "Give this to my brother. Let him know I'm dead." And so they got to the town and they did all that and they do and they found the brother and the Bob walked up to the brother and said, "Here, your brother's dead," and gave him the coins and then walked away.
Oh
And
no.
of course I was like, "Hey, wait a minute, how did he die?" He got angry with Bob, and Bob didn't understand why he was angry. So at this point, and if you're going to do tabletop role playing therapy, you need to stop the game a lot to,
Yeah.
okay, let's unpack this and see what happened and what we can do different and all this. So I stopped the game for the moment and said, okay, what do you think he's feeling right now? And you try and get Bob or your client or whatever looking at another person's feelings from the other person's point of view. So he said, "Oh, I bet he's really sad right now." Okay, yeah, let's go. Do you think maybe that's what he got angry about? Well, yeah, I guess all I did was just give him the gold and said bye. But he should have liked the gold. So, I mean, with the disability also comes um, a misjudgment um of what's important and what's not. So we explained to Bob that, okay, yeah, the gold's important. The gold's very important because it'll help keep him alive and everything. However, the life of his brother was more important. So when you kind of explain all this, and then there's a moment you can see the light go off, and at that point you can say, "All right, do you understand? Let's go back a little bit now in time, and we can retry that." And then you can go through, and at the end of the session, you can say, "Hey, you did a great job today. Look what we learned." Da, 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 da. And it gets
Those are
really,
so
really fun if you
powerful.
have 4 or 5 different individuals with developmental disabilities. So at times, you have to stop you have to stop the game quite a lot.
Oh, I can only imagine. Yeah,
So
those learn. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, with those types of things, do you always have to stop the game right then and there, or could you kind of play out that like scenario in full and then try to touch base at like when you end the session, kind of like do a session breakdown?
Um,
Or is it always better for the teaching moment to stop it right when it happens to address it?
The teaching moment, what you want to do is you want to get to the point where your individual is understanding something's wrong, but I can't quite put my finger on it. And it's at that moment when you stop the game and you unpack everything there. In the end, like if the three of us were sitting down and playing a role playing game, we could go through the entire session. We can go through an hour or 2 hours or however long, and at the very end say, "Oh yeah, I did this and that's it. That really made me feel this." And you can talk about what role playing highs and lows there were in the game. With individuals with disabilities, especially disabilities that are mental, you really need to stop at the moment and say, "Okay, everything stops. Let's look at this. What's bothering you, Bob?" "Oh, he's mad at me." "Why do you think he's mad at you?" And that's when you have to start unpacking stuff. Otherwise, at the end of the session, he might not even remember the moment. Um, it might have just become another one in what for these gentlemen and these individuals is probably a long line of confusing situations.
Okay. Uh, nope. No, I took it up. You're good. I kind of lost what I was gonna say, anyways.
Sorry, I do. Do you think that there is a greater effect in the therapeutic benefit for video games such as Ark and, tabletop role-playing games and stuff like that? Do you think that therapeutic benefit is greater in cases where there's an intellectual disability, or do you think it's an equal, or does the value change in any way, shape, or form based on the type of client, or do you think that basically, can everyone benefit from this, or
Well,
is this something that you think the clients in your group home benefit more than the quote unquote average Joe on the street?
tabletop games, yes, for sure. Because tabletop games, you can unpack developmental problems. Um, Having a complex developmental disability, let's take bipolar disorder, or I guess they call it, what do they call it now? They call it something different in the
Borderline
DSM-5
personality
now.
disorder, I think.
Pardon?
B
Is it
B
borderline personality disorder?
BPP,
Yeah,
I think.
borderline personality disorder. Yeah. Um, so, like with something like that, you can develop scenarios. You can develop situations where you can actually create those learning moments with a tabletop role playing game. The video game portion of this is actually more. It's more beneficial with emotional problems. You get like depression, um, manic depressive disorder. Um, so in these cases, then you know that you're falling into a low and you want to try and pull yourself out. Okay, I'll play a little bit of Ark and I'll build a windmill, whatever. I'll put it on creative mode and I'll build myself a castle or whatever is going to help you get through this moment, this low moment in your life. Um, I use it. I use Arc a lot of the time as a stress reliever. So, um, I had a really bad day at work, or had to fire 3 or 4 guys in my other job, and I'm feeling low. So I'm going to come home. I'm going to get on Rag and breed some dodos and see if I can go out and find a wyvern. Like it's it's an escape, and the escape is what's important for those people with emotional disabilities, as well as people who have very stressful jobs and really kind of they need that moment to just get out of the world.
Absolutely. It's very, very, very important to have those moments to be able to unplug and unwind and figure out what it is that fills your cup. For you were just describing, jump on, build yourself a castle or something. That can be extremely
Yeah.
therapeutic to you, but to Stephen, I bet that sounds like torture and absolute misery. So whether it's like building or exploring or just following your buddy around and shooting him in the butt with trank darts and messing with him for the giggles. Like, just whatever fills your cup, you got to figure that out and make sure you make time for it.
Or Joe Daddy can
So
just watch Dilo's breed.
Yeah,
I
or watch
exactly what I'm
Daddy
doing
lag
right
the
now.
entire circle.
Um,
Yeah, you owe
so
everyone
I
an
do I
apology,
do get a
sir.
question. Huh?
I said before
What?
this episode is over, you owe everyone on the server an apology, mister.
No, I do not. My dollars are fine. But so do you think the type of game matters more, or is it the mindset of the player itself when they
uh,
go into the game? Like the game matter, or does it matter about the mindset when they go into the game of like what they're doing matter more?
well, a lot of it's got to depend on what the person wants out of the game, right?
Hmm.
So if I've had a really bad day and I am just in the mood to just slaughter a bunch of people, well, then I'm going to get my Hitman game out and I'm going to go
There
through and slaughter a bunch of people. Um,
you go.
for someone with, oppositional defiance disorder, that might not be a good idea. But
Oh, that's an important
it all
distinction right
depends
there.
on, yeah, what the person needs, right? If the person is in need of some kind of a connection with people, then he can get on a sim server and just walk around and you know chat with people. Um, if someone needs a relaxing, very calming thing, then they can get onto Arc on a creative mode, and hey, you can do whatever you want. You can build, you can run around, you can make it really easy to get all the artifacts.
Yeah, I mean,
But
shoot, you can even
it
just
all
live
depends
there
on
and
what the
watch stones
person
one
needs
day.
in their life.
Exactly.
Yep.
I like it. I've never truly thought about it like that, honestly.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so that's a very you made an important distinction in there of somebody with oppositional defiant disorder should probably not go play Grand Theft Auto or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a handful of scenarios that just don't necessarily go hand in hand for being therapeutic. So not every game is beneficial for everyone, and if Ark's not the thing that's gonna make you feel better, then don't be ashamed to load into Rocket League or whatever you gotta do, man. Long story short, don't be ashamed to mix it up, is what I'm hearing.
And one more simmer.
I will definitely tell you this. When it comes to me and Matt playing, we play video games every night, and we strictly know it's for our own mental health, in a sense, because I
Oh
live very far away from him. So this is how me and him communicate and hang out every day.
yeah.
But we
100%.
both know that, like, if we're having a bad day, guess what? We're gonna go play some Call of Duty to shoot people.
Yep.
But if it was a really stressful, hard day, we're gonna do something very mindless and might be Ark or Rocket League.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I've
And
got a
yep.
farm
on
simulator if I want to do anything really kind of mindless and just kind of relaxing. I grew up on a farm, so it's it's like, yeah, this was simpler back then.
it's just simpler and easier time, right?
Oh yeah.
So we've talked a little bit about playing video games, at the end of your day to unwind and relax a little bit. But what about to start your day? There was a period in my life where I would wake up, right after high school, before college. I would roll out of bed, play a little bit of video games to wake up. It was my cup of coffee. It was how I got things rocking and rolling. I'd put 30 minutes in before I'd go to classes and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
that was how I got myself started to, quote unquote, hit your flow state for the day. So, how can we utilize gaming to hit the flow state of our mental health at the beginning of the day? Do you think that's something that we're looking more at this creative build mode or hitman to get your day started before you go to your 9 to 5, or what type of stuff would be more therapeutic in that scenario?
Well, I mean, if you're gonna look at something that's going to be therapeutic, um, like therapy in itself is very very individualized, right? Which is why you got people that go to school for 6 7 years before they can before they can do that. Um, but if it was just a generic sort of a wide umbrella thing for everybody, I would say I get up in the morning. First thing I do is I play a hand of Spider Solitaire, and that kind of gets my
Ooh.
brain going, gets me moving, gets me thinking, gets the old synapses, firing this that way and that way, and it kind of wakes me up. And then I'll get up, have a cup of coffee, go to work, whatever. But but games in general, and any games, tabletop games, Monopoly, chess, checkers, whatever, anything that gets your brain working in a sequential manner. So you get up in the morning and your brain is still kind of at that point where it's just starting to look around and see what's going on, and it's just kind of getting used to the idea of, oh, now I have this input from my eyes and now I can hear things going on, like what's going on. And your brain is still kind of waking up. So you want to get it going into a sequential a sequential line, like a straight line that it can see what's going on. So you do games like solitaire, spider solitaire, Monopoly, chess, checkers, whatever. I mean, but even those games that we were talking about earlier with Call of Duty, it gets you thinking about strategy, right? Because if I'm standing over here, then he can't get me, but I can move around here, and it gets you thinking outside the box, outside of the I was just asleep and having a date with whoever in my dream.
Yeah, no, that's completely valid. It's not easy for a lot of people to switch on for the day and get that brain firing and all lined up like you were describing. So
Oh yeah,
that is a very pro tip there. So, take that into consideration. If you're one of the people that has to have 3 cups of coffee or 2 energy drinks or something like that to get rocking and rolling in the morning, maybe replace it with a game of Spider Solitaire. See how that works out.
I still go
Mm.
through too much
Now,
coffee during the day.
Oh, I do too. I have like 4 or 5 cups per day, so I can't judge anyone.
Yeah.
same. But question on that though, is there a fine line? Because like Matt was saying that he used to use it to wake up in the morning, play 30 minutes, and go to school and stuff like that. Is there a fine line where you were kind of like you'd use the video games as a coping mechanism to immerse yourself in that state to reduce the intrusive thoughts that you have before the day starts?
Um,
You know what I mean?
Intrusive thoughts
Yeah,
like
just kind of like getting the world
I I
shutting off
I
the
wanted
world.
to, yeah, I want to take this M16 and go to school and shoot everyone. Is that what you're doing?
No,
Intrusive
I'm
thoughts like
no,
that, or
no intrusive thoughts meaning like if you're having family problems, family troubles, and you don't want to deal with them when you wake up. Let's say use kids as an example. Like you wake up
oh
in the morning and kids are going crazy and stuff like that. So you jump on the video game to shut everyone out. So you get a few minutes of peace and quiet, stuff like that.
oh, there's
Is
nothing
there a
wrong with that,
fun?
but it gets to the point when it becomes a problem. If your kid's standing at the door going dad 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 dad, and then starts crying, then that might be a problem. If you're calling into work because and saying you're sick because you want to find out if you can finally finish this next level on whatever game you're playing, then that becomes a problem. If you're using the game to avoid your responsibilities, that's when it becomes a problem.
Okay. Now
I would
Like
weapons.
agree.
5-10 minutes just to get away from it at all is not a big deal. Everyone needs that from time to time.
Yeah.
Um,
But how can
but if
you, if you're in that state though, how can you self-diagnose it? You know what I mean? Is there a coping mechanism that you can use or a way to know that that's what you're doing? Because there's a lot of people that I know that do that. They don't really realize that that's what they're actually doing.
Yep.
in those cases, then they need someone to step in and say, I don't know whether you've noticed this, but X Y Z. Um, if I were to tell you, hey, you know what? Given the last little bit of talking we've had, I think you might have a problem with drugs. And I might be right, I might be wrong, but even if I am right, do you think you're going to admit that you have a problem with drugs to yourself?
Not unless you already want it. Want the help, that
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, not unless you already want the help, in which case you've already diagnosed that there is a problem and you can move forward from there. But if you're at the point where you're totally ignoring the fact that, you know, you're shoving heroin up your nose every 6, 7 hours, then that becomes a problem that someone else is going to have to step in and say, I love you, but
And those are such hard conversations to have, man. You got to be a special type of relationship to be able to have that conversation with that person in the first place. So that's not a conversation to take lightly. Um, just make sure that you approach it safely. I guess if you're going to have that conversation with a loved one, it's all about how you approach it rather than what you say. I
Oh
feel
yeah.
like.
Oh yeah. You could do an entire episode on, interventions as well. So there are so many different things that have to be looked at for that.
Absolutely. Gosh, you had said something that I was going to ask about earlier, but it escaped from me now.
That's the secret. You keep on moving. Keep everything moving forward. I'll just keep talking until you stop me.
Oh man. Have you, so you have, correct me if I'm wrong, you've got some military experience, right?
Yeah, about 10 years.
10 years. So in your
It's a lot.
experience, it's a lot. Yeah, first off, appreciate you for that. Congratulations on, all the time and all the things. So I know a lot of people don't
Oh,
like to hear the
I'd
whole
still
thank
be
you,
there if
but
I hadn't
thank you.
shattered my leg. So,
How'd you shatter your leg? Was it a cool story like jumping out of an airplane?
I fell out of a helicopter.
Okay, that's pretty cool. That's parallel.
It's no, no, it's no. It was actually kind of stupid because I was hanging from the helicopter and I was teaching some recruits how to quick line out of a helicopter. And there's a harness you wear along your hips, and it is attached to a line with a brake on it. You just squeeze it to slow yourself down, and then you loosen it to go faster.
Uh-huh.
And it's attached to the harness with a D clamp, and the D clamp snapped, and I went straight down. So I was
Ooh.
actually bouncing on it too. I was bouncing on it, saying, "It's all safe for you guys. This is your break here," and then snap. And yeah,
Oh no. What unfortunate luck.
but yeah, it wasn't. It's not even a cool story. Like it was a Black Hawk, and we were going into Mogadishu. Like
Oh gosh. No, okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Good Lord. But in your experience, how effective are these approaches and these strategies with the veteran community? Because I know in my personal experience, I haven't had the pleasure of working with as many veterans as I would like. But the ones that I have played with, Dungeons and Dragons, that is, it seems like they can get a lot out of the micro exposure, if that makes sense. There's a lot of PTSD that's involved with the veteran community, and those micro exposures can, in my opinion, be a fantastic way to help coach people through that. Have you experienced any of
well,
that?
and well, with D&D also, like I played D&D with we played D&D in our unit, so we did that all the time, and
Well
it
deployed?
was a nice. Why? Pardon?
Well deployed, you played?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's really cool.
It's a great game to bring with you because you're not reliant on a computer. All you need is a tin and some paper. A tin for your dice and some paper, really. And it's something we can keep in our. It's something we used to keep in our jump packs and in our pants. So,
It's fantastic. Anyway,
but
sorry to interrupt you. Please continue.
yeah, yeah, no worries. Uh, excuse me. Edit that out, eh?
Yeah, no worries.
Um, with with the D&D thing, it was so far removed um, from what we were experiencing. There were no guns. There was no bombs. There was magic. I mean, like crap. One of the guy who was actually our medic in the unit, he played a cleric most of the time. So he would walk up to us and, oh my God, I've got a sword through my chest. And he'd walk over, cast heal wounds, and everything's fine. It was a nice way to get away from the reality while at the same time it being so obvious that you were getting away from the reality. You knew you were escaping into this. And you also knew that at some point this will have to end the game.
Yeah.
And it was a nice downtime, which is why I think our unit did so well, because we always had that moment when we would say, okay, guys, let's just screw the world. Oh, let's go in here. And we'd do that. Um,
Those moments are so important in moments like that. I mean, I obviously am not a veteran, but I can only imagine that the constant stress and pressure would you'd have to have that escape, you know what I mean? I feel like you'd go cuckoo without it.
oh, yeah. And there were some guys, I'm Canadian, right? So um, when I was in the service, we'd used to do a lot of training with the U.S. boys. And every once in a while, we went across because I was in the service and we were only like, when I joined, we were just like 14 years. Yeah, 14 or 15 years after the Vietnam War ended. And so there were a few Vietnam vets that were still serving.
Oh, wow.
And I had the privilege of meeting a few of them and talking with them. And you could just tell that, like, I understand that Vietnam was a wholly different kind of war. Like, it was the big change in war from Korea, World War II, that kind of thing. And you could just tell that these guys, they didn't quite all come back. And I had a lot of rather serious discussions sometimes with them, and you could just tell that there was still something that they hadn't, something in their heads that they hadn't dealt with.
Yeah.
And at the point, I wasn't, I wasn't doing my psychology degree at the time. So I didn't have and now I look back and think, I wonder if I can find that guy because I think we could have a chat and I could help him. But, but, uh, but yeah, but there was just something there you couldn't, yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not, it's it's been something humans have done for thousands of years, but it's just not something humans are meant to endure or experience. And I just don't see how you could see some of the things that we're seeing, especially in a conflict like Vietnam. That was, man, anybody who's ever seen a documentary about the Vietnam War knows that
Oh,
that
yeah.
was a very different conflict. So I understand that those that that whole group of veterans really needed a lot more support and appreciation than they received.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, those boys, they, uh, they went in there way too young and they came back way too old, I guess. I mean, like, it was just, even if they were only gone for a year.
Yeah, yeah, no, for lack of a better term, they definitely came back aged significantly more.
And then what sucks is when they came back, they were treated like monsters and they weren't given the respect that they deserved.
I, uh, I didn't really, nobody ever told us about that. We're Canadians. We like everybody. So what happened with when they
Yeah,
came back?
because you
I don't
give
know. I
everyone
don't know.
syrup. That's why.
Pardon?
You give everyone
Yeah,
syrup. That's why.
yeah, you come to Canada, you get a Tim Hortons coffee and a bottle of Quebec syrup,
You son of a
maple
gun, I'm
syrup.
in. Yeah, there was
No, but seriously,
the
they didn't come back to the ticker tape parades like in World War II and stuff.
dude, when they came back, people were, there were protests all about them. People were calling them baby killers and monsters, and the American
Oh my
GIs
god.
returning were treated as if it was their, they were the ones that were jumping on the planes going, heck yeah, let's go do this. They got a real nasty welcome.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We have you guys have poppies and Remembrance Day, right? Or I guess you call it something else.
4th of July.
Uh,
No, the
no,
November
Memorial
11th,
Day. No,
Memorial
November
Day there.
11th. November 11th. What's November
Yeah,
11th?
November
11th.
11th. Yeah, duh.
We don't have anything on November 11th, I don't think.
Oh no. Okay. In Canada, we have Remembrance Day, and we stand. Uh, veterans get together, and they just kind of, they respect the sacrifices of the past and the sacrifices of the people that are
Oh,
serving now and stuff. And
Okay.
there was one
we have
lady.
Veterans Day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Veterans Day is
Veteran.
probably what you
Yeah,
guys
we
have.
have Veterans Day and Memorial Day.
Veterans Day,
Okay.
the ones that is in November, right? I
No,
can't
neither
remember.
one of them are in
I'm
November.
terrible. We have something.
I'm not.
Okay. I don't know. I
No,
can't be
it
trusted.
Yeah.
Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Like one of them is like the first is like Good Friday or the first Friday after some after Good Friday or something like that. I can't remember. It's on the calendar and it pops up on my phone.
Long story short, we have it at a different time of year, I guess.
Okay.
Yes.
But
Long story short.
we had a lady who was she was wearing a white poppy, and I'd never seen a white poppy before. And I went up and I asked her, you know, "Hi, ma'am, noticed your white poppy. Is there something significant to that?" And she said, "Yes, this is to protest against any kind of war and any kind of conflict, and that none of you should be over there killing people." And da da da. And she went on and on and on and on. And I was about ready to slap her in the side of the head. And my buddy comes over, who served with me, and he said, "Ma'am, no, I just got one thing to say to you about this: is that my brother here and I, we went over and we fought and we shot and we killed and we watched our friends die, so that you could have the right to wear that white poppy and say those things. Thank you very much, ma'am." And we walked on. He turned me around and walked me away. And I
Absolute
look back
mic
now and I
drop right
think
there.
that is probably the best thing that could have been said to her. But
Yeah, that whole was a moment that sticks with her forever because that's absolutely out of pocket for her to say to someone, especially on a day like that. Like that's uncultured.
oh yeah, what really got me was that it was basically opposite of a red poppy. The red poppy's it's just a symbol of respect and remembrance. I mean, she
Yeah.
was treating it as the glory of war. Yeah.
So Dungeons and Dragons, lots of therapeutic value to veterans, lots of
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
especially overseas. Um, once you return home, we talked a little bit about, how that storytelling and role playing can help you process your trauma. We talked a little
Yep.
bit about with your group home about how, a lot of those learning moments come through processing in the moment and a lot of those crossovers are happening here. So where you're able to see a lot of treatment and therapeutic benefit from not only tabletop role playing games with, group X, group Y, group Z. It seems like there's a lot of benefits for everybody here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, like tabletop role playing games. I don't know if you guys ever. When I was young, I'm really gonna date myself now because I remember when Dungeons and Dragons came out.
Oh wow.
But shortly after Dungeons and Dragons came out, I think it was the early '80s. There was a movie called Mazes and Monsters, and
Okay.
it was basically a bunch of kids are playing this tabletop role playing game called Mazes and Monsters. They were basically uh, live action role playing, LARPing
Oh yeah, yeah.
in the sewers. And this one guy got too into the character, he got too into the game, he got too into this, that, or the other thing, and became a serial killer and started killing everyone else. It was your basic Friday the 13th slasher movie type thing.
Okay.
But that got the Christian evangelical Christians got all up in arms about it. Dungeons and Dragons is bad. Dungeons and Dragons is evil. Dungeons and Dragons is going to kill your children. And I think at that time, all it really did was bring us all closer to we got to check this out. What's so bad about it? Which is why you got a lot of people now who are who are older people who are still play Dungeons and Dragons. But from that point, I think a lot of people and a lot of people from that era who grew up and became psychologists or psychiatrists were looking for a way to use role playing games as therapy, which is where these theories come in. Tabletop role playing game therapy, um, and which I think has actually been a great benefit to the mental health field as a whole. Um, and at the moment, I'm trying to get some kind of similar thing with um, Minecraft with video games. I'm creating a Minecraft world that these guys can get together in at the group home, and they can play together on Minecraft and build and work together and try and do this together. And maybe we can go into the underworld or the netherworld and defeat the big dragon evil person, um, and they can work together towards that.
Now, you say that Jericho and I and Steven all used to work together at, a group home, very similar demographic of client, but kids rather than adults. And
Yeah.
I just foresee, how would you handle a scenario where Bob decides to get back at Jim for Jim doing something else a different day that he was mad about and blowing up his base or something like that? Like, do you foresee any stinkers like that,
Oh,
or is your group pretty good?
Um, oh, I haven't actually implemented it yet. I'm still trying to figure out because I've got 4 different machines and 4 different versions of Minecraft. So I got to actually get
Oh wow.
I got to get all the versions of Minecraft together and then get the server version for that version of Minecraft. It's really kind of weirdly strange, but um, I'm still working on that. But I can foresee that kind of thing happening, and that kind of thing is going to happen even in real life. You drove into my car, you jackass. Like
Yeah.
these are things that have to be worked through in a society. Um,
It's a
your
canon
dog
event
crapped
too,
on my
man.
lawn. Yeah,
Yeah.
your dog crapped on my lawn. Oh, you blew up my base. Well, okay, build another one, first of all. Secondly, is this really something that you're going to beat the crap out of them in real life for? Like, come on, guys. And
Yeah.
it kind of teaches that moment, right? Like, oh, this is just a game. It's not real. Uh, and once you get to that point, you can start with the okay, now you got to work together in order to defeat the dragon, defeat the this, defeat the whatever. You got to work together to try and catch that stupid chicken that's always running around in Minecraft. Um, whatever. And as long as you keep on giving real and reachable goals, then you will always see progress in a person's um, social interactions, especially if they're working in a group.
I love that approach. And like you had said, if there is the occasional setback, the occasional hiccup, and something does go awry, those are all canon events. I fully
Yeah.
attribute the fact that I'm one of the most unscammable human beings in the age of every scam and phishing technique known to world. Like I'm pretty much unscammable in my opinion because I got ripped off so many times in RuneScape as a little kid. So many people tricked me into giving them my prized possessions because they're going to do this to help me, they're going to do that to help me, and the
Oh
utter
yeah.
betrayal of having your stuff stolen away from you by an adult who tricked you. And at that moment, you learn a thing or two about odd behaviors from odd people and not trusting strangers. And you know, you could. There's a lot of learning moments in an unfortunate situation, even if something does go awry.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
I've
Any.
definitely tried to scam Matt many of times. Does not work.
Oh goodness. So, out of curiosity, you talked about Bob playing a fighter. You know, your common tropes that you see, the characters that you see in your group home. What about with veterans? Do you see any particular tropes or archetypes or scenarios and themes you had mentioned when you were doing a tour of duty that you guys played Dungeons and Dragons there, and it was all very high fantasy, and that was a great escape for you. But are there any
Yeah.
consistent things that you notice? People like I had mentioned in the last episode that when I do Dungeons and Dragons, there's a couple players that I can tell you this one player every single time he's going to play a character that trusts absolutely nobody, but absolutely wants to be the hero of the day and will sacrifice the skin off of his face to die a hero. And I know he's
Oh
going to
yeah.
do that every single time because that's him. Do you see that with veterans?
Oh yeah, for sure. The vast majority of veterans, for some strange reason, want to be mages. And
Interesting. What do you think that
I
is?
cannot, I can, I've tried to figure out why for years. um, a lot of vets also want to be paladins because they want to be on the side of right. They want to, excuse me, they want to be the hero of the moment, and that's that's completely understandable to me. The mage thing is just totally out of left field. And the only thing I can even come close to figuring out on that is that because they want to be something so much farther removed from what they do in their real life that you can't get any farther away from real life soldiers than a mage.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's the only
fair.
thing I can figure out. That's the
That
only
is
thing I
fair.
can.
When you think soldier, my brain immediately goes to like fighter or ranger. So a mage is definitely the exact
Yep.
opposite.
I mean, or you
Yep.
could look at it as like they just want to go PK fire all the time. Why not?
Get in touch with
Yeah.
their inner child.
Yeah,
I want.
they're missing that inner childness, and so they just want to go PK fire
Who
constantly.
doesn't want to throw fire out of their fingers? Let's be real.
Oh
Like, come
yeah,
on
that's
now.
true.
Now,
I don't know.
I wonder
I was
when
wondering
you
the power word kill.
ah okay.
That just makes life
Now,
easy.
when
Too
you
easy.
play D&D, are you always the dungeon master, or do you actually get to be a player sometimes?
I very rarely get to be a player,
Hey,
and
man,
Okay.
brother.
that's mostly because I world create. Like I have four or five different worlds that I do in my D&D things, and so I have this world and that world and that world. And
I
I've gone
love
so
that.
far as to have maps and the names of people that run the inn for each town, the lord of each town, what that person's respect is, how that person is geared towards the next town over, and how they talk to each other. I just get I get way into world building, probably too much, but
It's my favorite
But
part
it's
about
really
being a DM. I gotta hang on.
yeah.
I gotta ask. I gotta ask.
go for it.
So, when you're world building, how do you do it? Because the way I do it is I start from one person and then I give that one person a life and then build characters from their life. You know, now you need a family, now you need coworkers, and then now they
Yeah.
need a family and coworkers. I eventually branch out an entire planet from that. What's your system?
I start with a map. I start with a map and I think, okay, someone would put a town right here. Okay, what's that town called? Who runs that town? What's in that town? What is that town's major import or export? You know, oh, so you
Wow,
got like a
such different approach.
town that's all farming. Uh, I guess Frankenmuth in Michigan is where a lot of the farming gets done.
Oh my
Mhm.
goodness. You know about
Or
Frankenmuth and
next,
you're not even from Michigan?
Oh yeah, but I'm a farmer, so or I
Fair
was.
enough. You should.
And he's also Canadian.
um,
They know everything.
That's true.
yeah,
Canadians
and
are
if we
smarter
do,
than the average American.
if we don't, just say, hey, it's okay.
Did the thing. He did the thing.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Why don't we go play hockey?
Just forgot to say sorry.
Yeah.
Are you gonna ride in on your caribou?
Goodness.
No, I've never ridden a caribou. I've
Oh,
I've I've ridden a
not a
moose.
true.
You've
Okay,
ridden a
not your true.
moose? That's cool as
Yeah,
hell.
it was a tame moose.
That's still cool
Still,
as
there's no
hell.
tame. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
that's
no
not a
tame.
thing. That's like a tame bear.
Yeah, like what?
No, you get moose that are brought to um, like habitats. If they're injured and stuff, they're brought to different farms where they can be raised, right? And they can be taken care of. And those moose are generally quite docile and tame. So my grandfather raised horses, so I had ridden horses since I was on a horse before I could walk. So not by myself, but I've been riding since before then. So I thought to myself, I can ride a moose. Why not? So I got up to the moose and kind of nuzzled up to him, and he got used to me, and then I jumped on his back, and then he freaked out and kicked me off. So that was my big moose riding experience.
That would have been equal parts amazing and terrifying, I feel like.
Oh, my brothers
No,
were laughing at me the whole time. So
sheesh. So, um, when talking about D&D, when you're talking about each like when each person has their own like play style and like character they play and stuff like that.
oh yeah,
Who do you typically play as? What is your go-to? Like this is what I like to play.
my go-to is a thief fighter.
Thief fighter. Why?
Yeah, because you get all the bonuses as far as fighting with a fighter, all the extra attacks and stuff, and you also get extra attacks as a thief. So you end up, if you work it right, you can end up with 4 or 5 attacks by level 12.
Absolutely unhinged.
And then you can use the oh, what's it called?
Accent
Sneak
surge.
attack. The sneak attack bonus. The sneak. Oh yeah, you got to use actions to get those attacks. But you can use the sneak attack bonus with the fighter stats and the fighter pluses to damage, and then you action surge. And generally, you can probably kill your average goon in one round if you roll good.
That is amazing.
Matt,
That's
who?
one of
What
the
is your
fun.
character that you typically play?
Um, I always fall into everybody. Can you quit shooting me with that before I karate chop you in the face?
We're playing Ark. I'm
Jackrabbit
just
over here.
running around the base shooting him. Yeah.
Punch you in the kidney. I'll teach you. I'm over here fighting for my life, and I accidentally just destroyed the smithy, and I'm picking up like 1,900 pounds worth of shit, and then all of a sudden I'm getting shot in the back of the head. Um, Jackrabbit. I always end up playing either a druid or an artificer. The druid is like I don't know, that's like a thing for me. When I was a little kid, I was obsessed with the show The Wild Thornberries. So I thought it was the coolest concept to not only be able to talk to animals, but be able to turn into one temporarily. So I'm all about the druid life.
Mm. Well, and the druid's got so many cool things too.
Yeah, lots of good utility stuff. If you like to do weird things, which the way when I get to be a player, I'm always trying to, as a DM, I feel like you have all the little weird inside scoop things that you can do and keep in your back pocket at any point in time. So I like to play the utility characters because that opens up a lot of creative freedom. And when I'm playing,
Oh
we
yeah.
have normally Chuck as our DM. He's a guy that plays with us, and he is really cool about me doing weird stuff. So I appreciate him for that.
And it's
Yeah,
always
I've
fun because then me and Matt can play characters together, and we go off each other pretty well with stupidity.
Oh my god, it's usually ridiculous. Let's see
oh
here.
yeah. What do you
Well,
do, Addy? You play what
Um,
character do you play?
oh
I play
yeah.
a range of characters actually, but but I typically, if I have my full choice to play, I like to play a character that is really stupid and doesn't understand anything. Don't
That
I that
sounds
does not, the class doesn't matter to me, but I
yeah.
play them as a very very stupid character. You know, have you seen Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
So I made a character, and his name is Hodor,
Huh.
and he didn't fight. He didn't do any damage. He just carried around two shields. That was it.
An AC of like 29 or something offensive like that always made me mad.
Yeah, and he didn't do couldn't do damage. I refused to do damage to anyone because I didn't want to hurt anyone. But I was just there. I was a shield. I was okay with it.
And you walk by going,
Like,
Hodor.
yep.
Well,
If there was
That
like a
that's
sounds
big
that
red
sounds fun.
or a big crystal ball that everyone's like, "What does this do?" I'm gonna run up and touch it and grab it.
we're gonna find out real
It's
quick.
pretty.
Yeah. So it's a comic like, and if I like to play the comical character that just like is everyone's friend. But if it's a serious character that I'm trying to play, it's usually going to be anything but a mage, anything that doesn't use spells, because I have a hard time tracking spells
Yeah,
when I
they've made the
play.
spells. Yeah, they've made the spell system so much more confusing now.
Yeah, so I like to get away from that. So I'll play a rogue, archer, fighter, doesn't matter as long as I have to do a lot of spells. Um,
Yep.
and I will play. I try to play everyone's like best friend, but also an edgy character where like, yeah, you don't mess with me, I'll cut you.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but see, you're edgy. You run into the issue there. This guy over here, he's so silly because everyone would be like, "Hey, we need to do non-lethal damage to the last guard because we need to know what the passcode is. Otherwise, we're gonna die in here when the poison gas fills up." And Steven will be like, "What's the password?" And the
Yeah.
guy will be like, "Shut up! I'm not telling you anything." And he'd be like, "Cool, I cut his head off." Okay, now you're all dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, there was something we were supposed to do first.
Yep.
Just wake him up, ask him again, poke him with a stick.
Yeah.
Can I just reattach the head? And
Yeah.
will it work? Yeah. No.
Someone's here got resurrection, right?
Speak
Speak
of
with
the
dead. You
dead.
get 5 questions. Goodness. Let's see here. So what we talked a lot about veterans, talked a lot about, all sorts of different groups of people, but what just general mental health benefits do you think that gaming can provide, whether digital or tabletop, that your traditional coping strategies sometimes just can't hit? Because my boss, she doesn't, she's one of those people that like music is her thing. So when she's having a bad day and a really bad mood, she'll have to put on a specific song and that will fix things for her. But that coping
Yeah.
skill doesn't quite work out for everyone, doesn't quite do exactly what you need for everyone. So how can gaming scratch that itch?
Well, with the video gaming, you can you can look at it from the point of view that this individual, this person who is needing the coping mechanism or who's needing the help, can safely and confidently deal with their problems directly, as if they're going to think in that way. Um, I can work through my problems in a game without having to worry about telling my therapist friend, whatever, that, and this is just an example, that, I have these urges to go and kill all the people of the street. Um, whereas in a game, I can do that. That's okay. That's not an urge anymore because I was able to massacre this entire street. And
Did
eventually
it?
you're
It
going to have to
wasn't that
work.
fun.
Pardon?
I said, you can say, there, I did it. It wasn't that fun.
Yeah.
But don't you run
Oh,
into
who am I going to talk to now?
don't you run into the thing where when Grand Theft Auto came out, right? You could steal cars, literally do anything you wanted. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of people who played the game a lot and then like, I want to do this in real life now because it was so much fun in this video game. And then they went and just did it in real life. There's a lot of people who did that. Wouldn't
Well,
you start
that's,
running
yeah.
into the fact of like same concept of like I want to go murder 1,000 people and they go do it in this game and goes, wow, that was really fun. Okay, now I'm gonna take that same mindset and move it into reality now in real
Well,
life.
yeah. I mean, look at Columbine.
Yeah.
Those guys were, all about, I can't remember what video game it was now, but um, they
Wasn't it
were
like
all
Doom
into
or
doing
something
that stuff.
stupid like that?
Yeah, back then it would have been Doom and stuff. Yeah. Um, but I mean, yeah, you're going to run into that no matter what you do. Um, if I were to talk with a guy who was psychotic and I did everything right and I counseled him in all the right ways and I went through every therapy and therapeutic strategy, just like, you know, Sigmund Freud himself is doing this stuff.
Right.
There's always going to be the chance that something bad is going to happen. And which is why if you're going to have someone with an emotional or a developmental disability playing games like Grand Theft Auto, um, Call of Duty. There was what's that one game called Postal. Um, then you're going to need someone who's there to keep an eye out, right?
Right.
Um, you should never play a game, either tabletop or video game, without some kind of litmus test. So you can talk with your buddy who also plays the same game about what you did, and you can work against each other or um, run ideas past each other as to what is acceptable behavior and what isn't. Um, so, like, we had a guy in the group home who used to play Grand Theft Auto all the time, and I'd sit there with him, and I'd be reading a book or something, and he'd be playing his game, and then he'd get all upset because he got caught by the police. And I said, "Well, what do you think is going to happen if you were to do that in real life? Do you think you'd really be able to get away?" "Well, no, probably not." He said, "But this is just a game." "All right, then. Keep on playing the game. Don't get worried about it. Don't get upset about it." So there's always got to be someone around who can kind of root you back into reality.
Now, on
Okay.
that same note, real quick, how do you interpret children playing games like that? Like, I'm gonna throw myself under the bus here. I let my 5-year-old play Call of Duty, but we have had such an extensive layer of talks about the differences between video games and reality and what's acceptable play versus what's not acceptable play. You know what I mean? He understands that
Yeah, yeah.
running around in Nuketown is very different than running around on the playground, and he's not going to come up behind somebody and be knifing a kid on the playground. So like he understands that differences, but in your
Yep.
blunt and honest opinion, how do you feel about, in general, that being a thing nowadays? There's a lot of parents like me out there that are just like, whatever, it's fine.
Oh yeah, they're morons. They're idiots.
Ha!
I think the the oh, what's it called? The the age restriction things on games. What are they called?
The uh, ratings.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. The ratings. The ratings on games. I think they should be maintained just like you know cigarettes are taken care of. We're not even going to
Really?
sell you cigarettes, even if you look like you're 18. um, and I think those should be they should be
So
uh,
with that same
honored.
mindset, right? Same mindset. Do you think? And I'm gonna kind of throw Matt under the bus because that's a great example with him and his kid. He's had those really deep conversations as much as you can, of course, with a 5-year-old, so they understand enough. Do you think that's still okay, or is that still like no? That's in your opinion still stupid.
Well, in my opinion, the majority of parents are not going to do what Matt's done.
Hmm.
Um, if I'm if I'm the guy that is monitoring the rating system, and I know Matt, and he tells me, "Well, this is what we did, and this is how we did it," and da da da, I'm going to look at him and say, "Yeah, you're a great dad, man. You go ahead, have fun." But this guy over here says, "Well, my kid wants to play that game too." Well, did you have the same conversation? No, you're an idiot. Go away.
And even if
Okay.
that conversation still makes me an idiot, that's okay. That's an acceptable answer. My feelings won't be hurt because a lot of people, Steven, you have flat out told me that you disagree with that decision that I've made. And that's okay, to each their
Yeah,
own. It's what works for their own family. And I approach it from the mindset of when I was 4 years old, I was playing Duke Nukem and killing pigs in a strip club. So, and I'm a Buddhist. I'm a Buddhist who does not objectify women and does, like I do all the things that a good human is supposed to do, but I was exposed to all that stuff very, very young with absolutely no explanation whatsoever. So like there's
yeah,
the okay, sure, some people will turn out perfectly fine, but as a general rule, yeah, that's it's pretty shady.
Now,
yeah.
there's one point I do want to take a step back really quick on before I forget. Um, we kind of went off topic a little bit off of it, and I really, really want to ask it, and I kept forgetting.
Boost.
So when you were talking a little bit about like using games and using it for diagnosis and kind of coping with a lot of different things and having that person to help you with that and kind of talking about all that, how
Yeah.
could our viewers that are listening who may not have that person or may not have that ability to do so, is there other coping mechanisms that they can do at home to help them with whatever they are struggling with if they are using video games to help with their mental state and stuff like that?
Well, you first have to find out what the. I mean, if you don't have that person to bounce ideas off of, to give you a different point of view or whatever, you really have to look at yourself, and you have to look at yourself with a very bright light and uncover all the little dark secrets, because you need to know, why am I feeling like this? Why am I wanting to take a gun and shoot everyone in the house next door? Um, why do I feel better after I play this game where I have to go through and murder everyone in this house? Um, and then you have to ask yourself, is it helpful for me to do this? Or is it a hindrance? Do I feel better and I can get through my day nice and easy? Or do I dream about it after I played the game? Do I dream about going next door and killing all those people? You really have to take a very bright flashlight to your own psyche and your own thoughts, because a lot of people who have emotional problems that involve um, having difficulty coping with things, with stress, with ideas, with thoughts, whatever, then you're probably not going to be honest with yourself. So you have to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to discover this now. And that's a hard thing to do. That's that is that's like, you know, becoming a gold medal marathon winner. Hard thing to do.
Yeah, you got to have an accountability partner. I know I myself, I'm not a strong enough individual to be able to identify all of my shortcomings like that. So it's extremely beneficial to have, somebody like Steven in my corner that I can just sit down and be like, "Hey, I need to talk to you about something. This, and this
Oh yeah.
happened, and this is how I responded." And I know I can trust him well enough for him to either be like, "Dang, you were wronged in that scenario," or for him to be like, "Geez, you need to really go apologize to them and rethink that." That's important.
Oh yeah. And you need that friend who's going to look at you and I've got two really good friends that I served with who have no problem looking at me. You're a moron.
Get your head out of your butt.
um, but yeah, they're very good friends of mine, and they can say that stuff, and I go, okay, guys, whatever, shut up, go away.
Yeah, accountability partners are very, very important, especially when it comes to mental health. It's an uncomfortable topic. It's an uncomfortable thing to address, and diving into your own mental health will almost
Oh yeah,
always feel like an attack if you're not prepared for it. So save yourself the trouble and make sure you got that accountability partner early.
oh yeah, it's mandatory. It's because if you're gonna look at yourself and go, oh, this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong, and that's it, I'm perfect now. Yeah, that's not quite the way it works.
No, no, it takes a lot of hard work and dedication to sticking through things to the end to make progress and growth. And it's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure.
Yeah, the hardest thing I ever had to do was after when I was 50 years old, I had congestive heart failure. And so I spent about a month in the hospital getting over that. And the hardest thing in the world was quitting smoking. And um, Sarah, my partner, was instrumental in keeping me accountable for that.
That's great. That has to be
So,
such a hard habit to break.
oh my gosh, it's horrible, man. Yeah. Uh, yeah. And even now, I'll walk by friends who are smoking and I almost say, "Hey, can I bum one?" Just out of habit almost. But
Have you avoided it
I still
since?
say no. I still say no.
Good for you. Good for you. Have you been able to avoid smoking completely since you quit, or have you had any quote unquote relapses? If you don't mind me
Oh,
being invasive and asking.
you're gonna have relapses one.
Of
Uh,
course.
about a year ago, there was a horrible, horrible day at work 'cause, not at the group home, at my other job, and I finally went out and was talking with one of the security guards, and he lit up, and I was like, "Give me one, give me one." But
Immediately, please.
oh yeah, and yeah, you're gonna have lapses. You're gonna have, you know, you're gonna find ways around it too. Because I got a friend at the group home who smokes, so we'll do shift change, and I'll go and sit in his car while he has a smoke. So I'm getting that secondhand smoke, right? Like, because that's
Right.
better.
Isn't that almost like smelling a bag of potato chips? Wouldn't that be torture?
No, no, no,
Look at you go.
no,
The
no.
willpower of a legend.
And after a while, or after a little while, you start coughing and stuff, and then you realize Oh yeah, that's why I quit. It was killing me.
I remember now. I don't like that feeling. Well, good for you for being able to do that. I know so many people that, have tried and tried and tried and, either do or do not. There is no try. That's what Yoda says.
Yes, that's what Yoda says. Which is
Let's
really kind
see
of cool
here.
because I'm wearing my Baby Yoda shirt, and it says, "Just minding my business, sipping my soup."
It's good soup.
Yes, and if you know the episode that's from, you're as much of a geek as I am.
I've seen all of them. I just can't. I want to say I do remember. It's the same episode where the little baby frog legs were sticking out of his mouth, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
They had the fight with um I forget her name now. It was in the first season. Had that fight at the bar with the girl.
Oh,
Oh
jeez, I don't
crap.
remember her name. It's gonna drive me
Yeah,
nuts now. I know exactly what you're talking about, though.
yeah. And then they
Steven,
have
you
a
see that?
fight, and then they both stop and look at him, and he's just sitting there sipping his soup.
I don't even know.
The Mandalorian.
Did you say you haven't seen that? Oh my
I've
gosh.
never seen The Mandalorian. I like Star Wars, but I've never really got really into Star Wars like a lot. Just I don't know.
Yeah.
It has
If it
everything
counts,
that I would like, 100%. But
if it counts for
I
anything, I'm not a big Star Wars fan, but I loved The Mandalorian.
Oh, it was good. I'm from that generation where I was right. I was 6 years old when Star Wars came out, the first one. So like, I'm at that generation where we all love Star Wars.
I lived it and breathed it.
Oh yeah.
How did one decide back then between Star Trek and Star Wars, or were they different eras and I'm just not aware of that?
Oh, they were different eras because Star Trek was the original series was in the '60s, right?
yeah, I
And then they
love
didn't,
Star Trek.
and then they
What?
didn't, they didn't come out with the movies
Yeah,
until 80 something. The first one.
Wow, I did not know that. Figure.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, we tackled a lot of heavy things. I want to, before we wrap up too much, we had some really great comments from last episode that I want to go through and talk about some of those real quick, if you guys don't mind bearing with me for that.
Oh yeah, no
I'm
problem.
here for it.
I was going to
Perfect.
leave a
All
comment, and
right.
then I thought that's stupid. Why would I do that?
Because it helps. You leaving a comment helps the algorithm, so more people will see it.
Oh really?
Yep.
Okay. All right then.
So you just cost us views. Wow.
You monster.
Yeah,
Wow. How dare
He's
you?
a-
I've been
That'll
called worse.
happen. But did you die? All right. So the first comment we had was from Lachlan, the OG Lachlan. When's your birthday, guys? Haven't listened to the whole episode yet? I'll listen later. OG Lachlan out. Well, Lachlan, I am a 90s baby from the wonderful month of November.
My birthday is July 24th, 95.
Oh, you're waiting for
Excellent.
me?
Hey, if you wanted to, if you don't want to share,
Ah,
that's totally fine. You don't have to. Maybe Lachlan wants your
Um,
identification. There we
there were a lot
go.
of babies born on January 13th, 1971.
That
oh
is very
man,
true.
I'm just throwing out there. Did they have like stone tablets back then to keep track of your birth date, or
Well, it's not quite that long ago. However, when I was born, they were still taking baby pictures, and mine was in black and white.
Wow,
damn,
that's pretty
I
cool.
that's crazy. That's
Yep,
crazy.
they used to
I
take
feel
a
like that
picture
had
of
to.
the baby, like the day of they were born, and yeah, and mine was in black and white.
I feel like you had to be at the tail end of the black and white, so that like the black and white photograph. So that
Oh
had to
yeah,
be
I
pretty
was.
cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was. I was near the tail end.
Question:
That's
Do you still have
awesome.
it? Or do you still have your baby picture?
Yep,
It's in black and white. That's cool.
yep. It's somewhere in the basement.
That's
That's
awesome.
too cool. That's really cool. Well, thanks for that comment, Lachlan. OG Lachlan out. Uh, I don't. It feels weird saying OG Lachlan and then following it up with not OG Lachlan. So we have to come up with a different nickname for new
Lachlan.
GNG. I don't know. New whatever. Regular Lachlan. I don't know. From Lachlan 2.0, we got, hi guys, loved the episode. When's Jericho coming back and where can I watch Jericho's stream? Well, Lachlan, if you head back to your comment on Spotify, you will see that I let you know Jericho is on Twitch and TikTok as well. His name is Suspector on there, Suspecter. Tell him Charlie sent you.
And honestly, what we could do is we could put his uh his TikTok in the links, so it'd be easier to find for people.
You know what? I'm gonna throw shade and just say if Jericho wants us to advertise his stream, he should come on as a guest host at this point.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
Uh, well, that's
Them,
that.
them's fighting words, son.
Yeah, square up, Jericho. Karate chop ya. Not really, love you. Um, Dad of twins, out of curiosity, on the subject of mental health, what are your feelings on people using hallucinogens in a therapy and clinical setting? Ooh, King Dodo, I'm gonna let you
Oh,
answer this first.
I want to go second.
Think my specialty is in psychology, and you're looking for a psychiatrist who would say, "My God, that is so unethical. Why would they do that?"
Okay, I see what you did there. That's a great
Okay.
answer. I see what you did
Thank you.
there.
So for me, without any actual medical or like any college learning traits or whatever, just real lived experiences, I like it because honestly, I've done a lot of self medicating with shrooms, microdosing back in the day, and it helped me actually realize a lot about myself and how I needed to fix, and truly it made it so I didn't really go see a therapist at that point in time,
Yeah.
and I worked through my own problems.
Yeah, I mean that at that point it becomes almost acceptable. However, putting them in a clinical setting where you're taking hallucinogenic medications for what purpose? What are you hoping to gain by hallucinating through XYZ experience?
Yeah,
Um,
it comes down to the
it,
mindset, I guess.
yeah, I'm like, what kind of therapeutic goals are you trying to get at? That you can live through a hallucination? Okay.
So I'm gonna
There
counter
really wasn't a
that.
question about that.
I'm gonna counter that actually because through the lived experiences of hallucinations, you're able to come out on the other side of a quote unquote vision with a different outlook on it. For conversation, in I'm trying to yeah, I'm trying to split hairs here. So
Yeah,
of
I
course I
can,
would
I
like
can,
to
I can
go ahead.
appreciate the argument. However, I don't agree with it.
Yeah, no. Of course I want to preface everything I'm about to say with I do not condone the use of anything that will get you put in jail or anything that is against the law in wherever you live. However, in the event that we are talking about a perfect world where no one's going to jail and no one's going to ruin their life for any reason, I feel like there's a lot of benefit in the ability to experience a trauma and then come out with a different mindset of it. For example, being able to, you know, communicate with a quote unquote older vision of yourself. You can hear a lot of advice from future you that, isn't real advice, but is something that you subconsciously already know. But being able to hear it from yourself in a third person sort of way is a way that you can make it make sense to yourself. It's easy for me to be like, gee whiz, I have an attitude problem and I really need to change. But for old man you to sit in your bathroom and be like, yeah, your wife and kids left you and you're going to die alone in an apartment because nobody wants to be around you because you're a miserable old man. Like, dang, I really need to change, huh?
Okay.
So, breaking down the fourth wall, many, many, many years ago, I had a very similar experience. I was going through a very depressive state, lost a lot of stuff that happened. Too much detail about that, but I was in a very, 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 very bad, hanging out with the wrong type of people, and I thought it was gonna be a smart idea to try some hallucinogens, and I did. And I had a thing happen to me during the hallucination, which was called an ego death, where I physically
Oh,
died in this trip, and it scared the living crap out of me. During the death, I was literally reborn in this hallucinogen that I had, which is 100% not real. Um, I taught myself how to like talk and live, and like it in my own mind. It made me realize that what I was going through at that time wasn't the end of the world, and I needed to keep fighting, keep pushing forward, and everything will get better on the other side. And that's kind of what it taught me. And
Good.
afterwards, I felt like crap for a while and had to decompress, understand what happened, but it actually made me feel better about what I was going through.
yeah. I have to agree with you on that one. I think mushrooms, you see a lot of therapeutic benefit just due to the fact of there is a lot of scientific evidence that I have seen in pretty well respected journals that indicate that there is a lot of resetting of your brain and, flipping the light switch on and off on some of these chemical receptors in your brain and can have a lot of benefits for depression and PTSD as well. So that form of hallucinogen, that branch, I say could have a lot of benefits if used appropriately in the appropriate scenario with the appropriate people at the appropriate times. But acid and LSD and stuff, those are your party drugs. Those are not, there's no benefit there. That's just to trip and see a purple dog next to your car. Like, that's not, I don't see any benefit
Yeah.
there, in my opinion.
Well, shrooms and cannabis are both legal in Canada. So,
Really?
Shrooms are legal in
Shrooms?
Canada?
yep.
Man, do you want to move to
Really?
Canada?
We have shroom
It's not that
stores.
kind of podcast, Stephen.
I'll take a picture and send it to you.
In
I'll
the
take a
store,
picture of the
that's
shroom store and
interesting.
you can I'll post it on the Discord.
Oh my God.
That's, wow,
Never
that's
knew that.
interesting. So okay, so you have a very different way of being able to look at it than we do because it's not in Michigan, it's not something that you can readily get in. You're allowed to grow it in Michigan, but as soon as you harvest it and possess it, that's a big, big problem. You're in big, big trouble now. So, in your experience, did the world go asunder and is everybody drooling on themselves chasing a purple dragon now that shrooms are legal, or did it change nothing?
Change nothing.
See,
I mean,
change nothing.
the guys who are getting it just go to the store and get it now.
Which takes the black market out of the
Props up the,
equation and makes
so
the world
so
a
it
safer
props up the
place.
economy. So it props up the economy, honestly.
Taxes, bro.
Doesn't it's not something that I really got into, mainly because my one experience with cannabis, I went into seizures and did the funky chicken on the ground for a while.
Oh,
So
that's a problem.
I'm allergic to
I,
weed, so I can't.
Same thing
yeah,
happens to Steve.
there you go.
Damn.
Are you allergic to it by chance, Dodo?
That's what I'm assuming. I didn't. It's not like we went and told Dad what happened, and
That's fair.
Oh, I ended
Dad,
up in the
what
hospital for three
the
it
days.
was illegal back then.
Yeah, I ended up in the hospital for 3 days. It
Ooh,
was great. Yeah,
oh yeah.
it was great.
I'm
Gee
glad
whiz.
you enjoyed it.
No.
Yeah, glad you enjoyed it, Usos.
Oh,
Well, that was an insightful question, so thank you for that one, Dad of Twins.
Yeah.
Chef Bun, we've got. Whoops, I responded with a shocked face. Ignore that. Talking about steak seems silly now after such a heavy episode, but my favorite way to cook a steak is a nice reverse sear, either starting in the oven and finishing in a cast iron pan, or starting it in a pellet smoker and finishing on my charcoal grill. As for weird ways to cook an egg, I don't know 100 ways, but I've found poached eggs super weird. Also, loved the episode. As someone who's been battling depression since I was a kid and struggling with anxiety, this was a big one. Hey, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate you opening up about that because that's not an easy thing for everyone to say. So, good for you for taking those steps to be open. And it sounds like you're a little more on top of it now than you were when you were younger. And I'm hoping you have a lot more coping skills in your toolbox. And I'm hoping it's easier for you to manage that battle.
Yeah, and admitting that there is a battle is the first thing to winning.
Absolutely. That's that's hard in and of itself. Poached eggs, though, I gotta fight you on the poached eggs. Poached eggs, I have such a maybe I'm on the autism spectrum, so maybe it's just a thing there, but I cannot do the texture of a poached egg.
sure. But okay, a
Well,
poached
you
egg
mean,
with some ramen though, can't beat it.
I'd rather just have
but
over easy egg, I guess.
what do you mean poached eggs like in a poacher or the old way where you poach it in a boiling water?
I
I've always
envision it
only
as
done it in
boiling
boiling
water.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only done it in boiling water, and then like if you're gonna make some ramen, oof, get a couple poached eggs in that, and take your ramen from like a level 1 to like a level 4, and so good.
Is this one of those things that like the US doesn't have bags of milk?
We
Wait, what?
don't have bags of
We
milk,
have
and that's
we
such a
have
bizarre
cartons.
concept to me.
We have
Yeah.
cartons of
How does
milk.
the bag not tip
Why
over?
would you have a bag? Yeah, why would you have a bag of milk? Why? What?
Y-
Do you just
Well,
How does
bring
that
it
not
like an udder
spill?
or something, or
Imagine
what?
you take the
no,
top
what
off
you
and it
do is
just
you
like
put it
folds in half.
Yeah. Do you
you
hold
have
it
a
on one side
crockery.
and bite the corner
What
and
do you
suck it out
wait?
like an
What you do
udder or
with what?
something, or
No, you pour it. I'm gonna end up putting like 5 different pictures on the Discord tonight.
Please
yeah?
do
But
educate us.
do you guys have poachers?
What?
Um,
We have boiling
like
water.
people that kill deer
No,
outside of
but do you have
season, yeah.
no egg poachers. But,
I'd probably, but I'm no chef. I'm no
Yeah, I'm no chefologist. I don't
okay.
know.
mathematician. Yeah.
Uh,
What does it look like? I'll Google it. Let me Google
it's
it
like
real
a
quick.
yeah. Google egg poacher.
Oh, I've
I
seen one of those. I
I
just
did
didn't know
it.
what it did.
I did an egg. I just did egg poacher and I googled it and it was a guy stealing an egg.
Yeah, it's like the free range eggs. Free
Oh
range
my
eggs
goodness.
made from free range chickens. The vast, huge herds of chickens ran through the prairies,
Look at all them chickens.
and someone's gonna really get mad at me doing this voice.
I was trying to figure out what it reminded me of.
Tonto.
Goodness. Well, poached eggs, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't had one, buy an egg poacher and carry on.
Yeah,
Bags of
and
milk.
then get a bag of milk.
Not to be
Dude, that
confused with
still
bags of eggs.
blow that blows my mind of an a you guys have a bag of milk and I'm picturing just a bag of milk and if I'm thirsty I'm just gonna bite the tip off and like suck it out from the bottom.
Well,
But
like
you
a
said
juice
pour it.
box,
Like a
except it's
Capri
milk.
Sun.
Yeah,
I picture a Capri Sun of milk.
yeah. No, okay. You know how when people have icing and they're gonna frost a cake or something, so they put all the frosting in a bag and they push it to
Yeah.
the one
Piping
corner of the
bag.
bag and it has a tip and then you bite and they cut the tip off so you can spray out the frosting. That's what I imagine the milk, but you just drink it like an udder.
Okay.
That's what I'm imagining.
I'm gonna post a picture of a a milk jug and
Yeah,
bags
we
of
have
milk.
milk jugs. Yeah, we have milk jugs. I mean, that's common. Come on, though.
Well, no, this milk jug is like a. Never mind. I'll post a picture later.
Got like a glass jug, probably.
Yeah, it's crockery. It keeps the milk colder.
That's what a fridge is for.
I feel like Americans are just doing everything wrong nowadays. Because when I talk to anybody from
Like,
anywhere else in the world, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not even making milk right. I can't even pour a cup of
yeah.
Well,
milk
yeah,
correctly. What am I doing?
I mean, you can't even spell words properly. You keep on leaving out the U's everywhere.
Hey, I will give you armor, but I demand you take back color.
If you guys start spelling, I am out because I'm so dyslexic. It's not even funny. You could tell me a word is spelled right and it could be completely wrong and I wouldn't even know.
I can, yeah,
So
I
when
can appreciate that though.
you
Appreciate the efforts.
you guys were you guys were talking about color and armor the other day and saying it in Discord, I had no idea what the difference.
Well, Canadians
So,
spell it with a U. Colour.
Okay, I got
Somewhere
two of
and
them.
somewhere between, you know, when the U.S. decided to be their own people in 1776, they decided that the U was horrible and should be left with the king.
so many
Fair
questions. I
enough.
gotta open up a history book, I guess. Um, Up next we got
Don't you
Arion.
love history?
Hey, that's
What?
beside the point.
Okay.
Up next we got Arion. This was a tough episode, to be honest. Made me realize I also struggle a lot at the moment. Um, Halfway through the episode, I thought, nope, I'm done. Gonna be the first episode I won't finish, but I did. Curious about the rest of the series now, even though it made me feel awkward, and kind of bad and sad about myself. I'm sorry, man. Keep up the great work, guys. Love it and love you all. Well, I talked a little bit about it earlier, how, mental health is a hard conversation to have, and most of us in the generation that we're growing up with, we have not been conditioned to be too open about mental health, and that was a four-letter word for a long time. So a lot of people are uncomfortable intrinsically looking at that whole topic and conversation in of itself. So I hope that you are able to find all the positives and the growth and all the things that you're doing great and not feel so bad about yourself, man, because you're killing it.
Yeah, kind of piggyback off of what Matt said. He did say sorry that you were feeling that way. I personally am not sorry that you're feeling that way. I'm happy that you're feeling. That's a good step in the right direction of you realizing if you do have those kind of problems and you are struggling with it, it's a good way to understand it. And now you can start moving forward, start looking for those good coping skills to help work yourself through it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
also a good way of looking at it, man. It doesn't have to be a four-letter word as long as we continue to say it.
Mhm.
So I'm glad you're going on a journey and just know that we're all here for you.
We'll be here for the ups and downs. Life is like a roller coaster. You have your
And a
ups and
box of
downs, and you
chocolate.
have your loop de loops. Loop de loops. I personally like the loop de
Loop
loops.
and pull, and shoes
Mental
are
health is
looking cool.
two six-letter words, so it's definitely not a four-letter word.
It's an American thing. You wouldn't understand. I'm just
Okay.
kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm over here counting on my fingers like, wait, can't tell if euphemism went overhead or if joke went over my head. All
All
right.
right.
Colton, my man Colton. I feel Joe Daddy on the struggle of anger management. I'm the exact same way. I'm a cool, calm, and collected person for the most part, but I used to not have many friends because I was a hothead and lashed out. But honestly, D&D helped me a lot with that, so I can defo agree with Matt about traumas. Um, Trauma's coming out during gameplay on accident, as it's happened to me a lot. Yeah, that's a real thing, man. Joe Daddy, you want to talk to him about the anger thing a little bit? You and Ninja have a heart to heart.
I mean, we can, but I mean, there's not much more to say on it. I mean, he seems like he's doing very, very well with it, which is awesome. He realized that
Heck
he's
yeah.
having those struggles, and he's working on it, and he's continuing to becoming better human and better person, so he can be around the people he loves, and they want to be around him. And that's what it takes, just the realization, honestly.
Yeah. A lot
Yeah,
of
that'd
times
be it.
anger. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. You have something to say?
No, I was just saying that's the way you got to work it. I mean, if you're accidentally coming across solutions to your own problems, that's you can't get more better than that. You can't get much easier. I mean, if D&D is doing that even without trying to do it, whereas, you know, people like me are trying to plan these things to happen, then you must be doing something right then.
And you're
So,
saving yourself a whole lot of money figuring it out on your own. Ha!
yeah, well, that too.
Therapy's expensive.
I
Well,
wouldn't know.
I'm
I have
glad
a
that
friend
you're.
who's my best
You
friend,
what?
so. Or I said I wouldn't know. I'm about to have a therapist best friend.
You're a pain in the ass as a client, though. I'm just throwing that out there. You are not an easy cookie.
Uh,
Oh, goodness. Love you to death, bud. Thank you for that one, Ninja. Appreciate your comment. Wes the Wolf, also known as Hail Hydra. Hail Hydra. I loved this episode. There should be more of it. Well, you know what, buddy? That was the introduction. You got three more coming your way, so I hope you like this one as well. Next week, we got Antonio Pepperonio talking about physical health and how that can be tied in with gaming. And then the week after that, we'll have Hop on Arcs episode and then back to regular scheduled programming at that point. So it'll be nifty, man. I'm glad you're enjoying it, and I hope you enjoy the next three parts of it.
and honestly, if it goes very well, this is something that we don't want to ever just only do 3 episodes on and stop. Something we could probably hit on every few episodes and stuff like that to keep the community developing in a healthy way.
Yeah, this is honestly a little test for me too at one point. I kind of plan on, as I get a little further into everything, I will eventually start to walk away from the gaming podcasts, to be totally honest with you, and I probably will do a therapy centered podcast at one point, whether it's family therapy, marriage therapy, or individual therapy. I haven't quite decided yet, but I'm testing the waters, man. I would like to get into a whole mental health podcast all of its own thing. That'd be fun. Um, let's see. Last episode we got, or last episode, last comment we got here is from Will to Thrill. I can say 100% this seems to be the toughest and hardest hitting episode to date. Step one to improving people's enjoyment is shining a light on these big issues that we all deal with but keep quiet or sweep under the metaphorical rug. Will, you have nailed my biggest pet peeve right on the head there. I hate the question, how are you? Because everybody always answers with good. You? Good. It's the most pointless question in the world, and nobody wants to ever hear. Everyone gets really uncomfortable when you say, gee, I'm struggling lately because of X, Y, and Z. So it needs to not be a thing. You know what I mean? It needs to be something we don't have to brush under the rug, that we can openly talk about whenever we feel like with whoever we want. And you
Oh
know,
yeah,
I I'm hoping that that awareness will be great. So step one, you are completely correct. I'm glad you got step one down, bud.
very very good. That's one of the things that I really liked about um, serving. You spend so many hours in so many different stressful situations with other guys that become your best friends, even if you hate them. Like we had a guy that we hated, but we knew that he was there for us when we needed him. And it becomes you become so close and you become so together that the thought of how you doing? Oh, I'm okay. answering like that is just, it's not possible. Because when he asks you, he really wants to know. And when when he asks you and he really wants to know, then you look at him and you tell him the truth and you tell him exactly what's going on in your head. And it gets easier every time you do it. So I mean, don't be afraid to tell the truth about what's going on in your head when someone asks you. One of two things will happen. They'll either help you out or they'll never ask you again.
Yeah, I guess that's a win-win when you put it that way. I just hate the when someone asks you how you are and you hit them with the truth and they give you that little oh, oh you poor thing face. You know what I mean? I hate that.
Well, yeah, there's
It could
nothing
be
really.
spooky.
Oh
It comes
yeah,
down to, I guess, the right person to open up to. You can't open up to everybody, I
oh yeah.
guess
Like
is
if the
my.
guy on the street as you're walking by says, "Hey, how you doing?" Like
I'd really like to
don't
talk to you
stop.
about my mom.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I've ran across a couple people who are little out there who've actually done that. It was
that
interesting.
must be an American thing.
It is.
I don't know. I think it was a drug thing.
You know that probably too. Honestly, though, it was really helpful and therapeutic for me. I'm that weirdo that I want to have a deeply intimate conversation with a total stranger that I will never ever see again because you have nothing to lose. You know what I mean? So what if I tell you my deepest, darkest secrets? So what if I open up to you about my most painful traumas? If you're being receptive and stuff like that, and I'm never gonna see you again, who knows? I could spend 60 minutes to get three useful sentences out of the conversation that could end up changing my life. You never know.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think it's pretty darn late in the night. We've gone through all of our comments, questions. We've gone through all the things that I had to talk to you about. Dodo, do you have anything more that you want to talk about before I shut us off?
Hey, gentlemen out there, get your PSA test. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. If you go ahead and again, important health things. You can't ignore stuff like that. So get it done. Just get it over with.
It's not that hard. Just a blood test.
Easy peasy. Easy as pie is how it works. Well, King Dodo, I thank you so much for your flexibility, for you bearing with us when we tried to gaslight you into thinking yesterday was the recording day, and just
Oh,
for
you
giving
had
us
me
your
going
time
there for
tonight.
a second. I was like, "Oh my god, did I miss something?"
I
I was
was
looking through
thoroughly
the
convinced
Discord.
you're like,
Did I
no.
miss someone tell me something about changing the day?
I was so confident it was the 12th all day. I was writing down everyone's paperwork.
Oh my god.
Oh, so I appreciate you very much for your time, and I had a blast chatting with you, and I would love to do this again sometime.
Oh yeah, anytime. Just give me a week's notice so I could change my
Absolutely.
schedule.
Absolutely.
Now, the
All
real
right.
question
Well,
is, are you gonna jump on Ark and start playing Ark?
Oh, I'm gonna go take a picture of my fridge.
I demand bags of milk. I demand glass jars of milk.
Yeah.
It- that's-
Actually, what I might do is I might pull them up on Amazon and
wait, you can buy them from Amazon?
never tried.
Wait, can you get bags of milk delivered to your house, like DoorDash?
uh, not anymore. They used to deliver milk to your house, and in the house I live in now, we have an old milk door at the side. And what would happen was the milkman would come over and he'd open up the little milk door, put your milk there, and then close it, and then you would get the milk from the other side.
How long ago was
Oh,
this?
yeah.
Probably the 50s. So yeah, that's before my
Was it
time. So
was it like a subscription service? Did you do like a monthly fee? Did you have to leave money in the box? How did that work out?
they left money in the box and drop off the milk and take the money.
It's
It
interesting.
was a simpler
Wouldn't the
time
milk
back.
get warm?
right?
You
Like if it
realize
was, if it was
milk comes from a warm animal, right?
yes, but like it goes
It
bad if it
does.
gets warm.
Have you guys ever had milk directly from a cow?
I've always been led to
I,
believe that it's dangerous.
Yeah, uh, yeah.
no, I grew up on whole milk.
So like when you were playing outside and you got thirsty, would you just run over to the cow?
Well, no, you'd get it from.
I just didn't have, I just wanted to figure out like how warm you got, how fresh you were getting it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I'm
you can
picturing
get it
Baby
right.
Dodo crawling on the ground and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, you can.
that's literally
You
what I was
can.
picturing.
You can, but people would look at you strange if you were sucking on a cow's tail.
I thought that's what you were getting at. I was like, okay, fair enough.
I
Not
was like,
judging, but
"Whoa,
judging.
been to
But
a
I have had
party in
milk from a
Canada."
bucket. I've had milk that just came in from being milked into a bucket, and I've put a cup in and taken milk out of like that.
I could imagine that that would
The
be
problem,
refreshing, you know, but hairy.
uh, there are some hairs in it once in a while,
Uh,
but
nope, you lost me.
You lost me. If I gotta strain my milk, I'm just gonna get the homogenized form.
By the way, Matt, you didn't do your sign off.
But we didn't stop yet.
I thought I thought it closed.
Well, on that note, folks, you have a great week. Survivors keep on surviving, and we will catch you next week. I did it. I did the thing. Goodbye.